Good morning. Welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Thursday, the 9th of June. So looking at the euro dollar first, and it's last few days with doji, a little bit up day, and today, not a great deal of certainty where we're sitting at the moment, but it's early days. We do have Draghi speaking at 8 o'clock, so the ECB President Draghi speaking then, which can always create volatility in the market. He's due to speak at the Brussels Economic Forum, so we'll see if there's some volatility when he gets on and chats. Looking down the time frames a little bit here, short term, it's starting to look like we could end up with a little pivot swing type sort of move here back to possibly the 4-hourly 21. Really depends how cheerful he is, doesn't it? Untouched daily pivot below us at the moment. It's not done anything much more above. In fact, I was just looking on the hourlies here. We put a higher high in with a lower RSI, so it's sort of a divergency sort of move there. Does that reflect on the 4-hourly? No, it doesn't. It's all pretty sharp and clear. So it's just a short term there, maybe suggesting, well, we're almost down to that daily pivot. So, well, if it breaks and starts pulling through here now, it's too much of an if and it's a real coin flip when Draghi speaks. At the moment, a lot of indecision, as I say. I'd like to see a daily pivot. Beyond that, I don't think there's much else I can look at there at the moment. Cable, this is one up day, one down day, one up day, one down day situation going on here with a spiky sort of movement there, lots of volatility kicking through. It's currently consolidating, which just means that we should be seeing some volatility soon. Hasn't quite yet got up to its daily pivot, which I'd like to see it do, but it seems to miss it a little bit more frequently this year. It's certainly a drop down the percentage of probability of it actually hitting that by about 8% or so. So just running back into the hourly 21s here. Sorry, just come back to that bigger picture. Well, actually, the bigger picture doesn't really tell us too much because of the volatility and the switches between yes votes or the stay votes, leave votes. So not at all clear at the moment. However, we start seeing a breakdown. Would like to see if it's already tested out hourly 100. If it starts breaking down, I'd like to take a short and maybe look for the S1 from there. Any sort of rallies, break it in, really needs to break above the 50 for it to be clear. We can get above that 50, and there's a pivot there as well. The weekly pivot sits there and get back above the weekly pivot. It starts getting bullish, and then we're looking towards the daily R1 and maybe even yesterday's highs. Certainly in easy range these days. Dollar yen, okay. Well, again, it's really at the moment, short-term wise, at least heading south. Steady downward bit of trending action going here. Lower lows, lower highs, and it's called daily pivot. So it may just do the same again, run into the towards those 21s and roll over. It seems to be flirting with those quite a bit. Like I said last time, it did actually manage to break through them. Well, if it breaks through them, it also needs to break through the 34 towards the 50, but quite an undulating market there. Looking at the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar's continued in its strongish upward trend here. It got quite steep in these movements, but with oil pushing up, it's helped the situation as well. Commodity prices probably going up a little bit. It could well, I mean, again, I'm looking at the 4-hourly RSI when you've got this sort of almost flat, no higher movement on this higher push up here. So it'll be interesting to see if we see it roll from where it is a little bit back down, maybe a correction to the 21. We've still got an untouched weekly below us, but it's probably unlikely to be seen now. Looking at the shorter term here on the hourlies, it's a long time since it's bounced off this 50 hourly 50. So maybe if it can if it can hold and we see a break above the sort of the 21s, back above the 21s, we could be bullish towards the daily R1 there. However, a break of the 50, if it fails and it rolls over, well, certainly the S1 and maybe a bit more of a continuation to the downside there. I mean, it's got some pivotal support, but other technical support doesn't seem a lot. Maybe just under that weekly R1 there. It has a bit of support around that sort of area. So if it breaks that, well then may see a bigger correction. And the Canadian dollar, let's have a look at the bigger picture first, and you see it's quite a correction here. Certainly done an ABC move here, and certainly a proper correction. Still got the potential to continue south towards its S1 here. It's got through on the bigger time frame, of course, all the major moving averages here, so it's in a clear run. What we're seeing is oil pushing up. Actually, let's just flick across to oil briefly, and you see oil now sitting at $51.53. So that's certainly pushing, and got some further potential. Although currently consolidating here, we see this through the Asian session quite a lot with oil consolidation, and it's doing so. So it's really a case of which way it runs here, and it will obviously drive the Canadian dollar the opposite way. So at the moment, Canadian dollar consolidating. To me, it looks like it could come down to this double S1 situation down here. If we see it break these lows, could well be on for it. In fact, it's quite an easy draw from here. So if we see a break at this sort of level here, we could be on for those S1s. Any sort of drop in the price of oil, and we could see a rally back up, testing maybe the hourly 34, hourly 50 sort of level, and maybe even daily R1. At the moment, it certainly seems like it's in as I say, a very good downward trend. There's nothing really to say that's softening too much. We did have quite an extreme yesterday midday, which hasn't come quite down to test those lows yet. So if we do start seeing a push the opposite way, well, maybe that move, we might see a bigger correction to the upside. That's it for me. News-wise today, as I say, really, it'll be led this morning in a short while by Draghi's press conference. I say press conference. He's due to speak at the Brussels Economic Forum there at 8 o'clock. There's not a lot else. Unemployment claims at 1:30. It's just a weekly jobs report. Doesn't normally do very much, but with the last figures not being great, perhaps we may get a bit more volatility around 1:30. Later on at 4:15, if you follow the dollar CAD, we could see a bit of movement as you got the Bank of Canada governor speaking. So, right, okay, due to hold a press conference about the financial system review. That may create a bit of volatility at 4:15 for the Canadian dollar. Right, that's it for me. Hope you have a great one. Bye for now.